Go. Hi, I'm Ann Weeks. I'm the president and CEO of Mountain State Centers for Independent Living. We have two offices, one in Huntington, West Virginia, and one in Beckley, West Virginia. And I will recently be celebrating my 39th anniversary here at the center. So I have been around for quite a while. And I've been asked today to talk about the past and about the development of the ADA and what I remember. And one of the first things that came to my mind was that Justin Dart, who we all called the father of the ADA, on his own dime, went to all 50 counties to gather stories from people with disabilities about discrimination that they have experienced in their lives, in their towns, and their cities. And a very good friend of mine, Jan Lily Stewart, was the moderator for West Virginia, and I can still see her sitting up there at the table in her turquoise dress and being the moderator for the West Virginia section of when Justin was here in West Virginia. And then what I remember is fast forward a little, and we were at the National Council for Independent Living's annual conference, and it was evening, and a group of the Nickel board decided that they thought we should march and have a rally to the White House so that we could call attention to the fact that the ADA needed to be written, developed, and signed. Well, it was raining that night, and so everybody was grabbing garbage bags, and they were cutting holes out for their head and for their arms, and some people were also wearing a smaller garbage bag on their head, and so we all set out, marching in the rain towards the White House. And there was probably 400 people there. And so when we started approaching the White House and we had not told them that we were coming, all of a sudden we started seeing sharpshooters on top of the White House, and other people were coming out and standing in other doorways because they were questioning about what was going on with all these people out here. Marka Bristow was the president of Nickel at the time. She passed away this past year, but she was the executive director of Access Chicago, and she was a chair user. So she was in the lead with some of the other Nickel board members, and they went, and as we marched, we went up to the guard station that is where people usually have to check in to go in. And they wanted to know what we're doing, and she said, we are wanting to talk to the president or a staffer about the Americans with Disabilities Act. And they said, well, the only thing we could do, if you don't have an appointment, the only thing that we could do is let you call in and talk to someone. Well, this guard shack was very small. It was before cell phones. The cord on the cell phone, the cord on the landline was very short, which Marka couldn't reach, and there was a step up into the guard shack. And so the White House guards had to lift her in her wheelchair up into the shack in order for her to make this call. She talked to a staffer and told them why we were there and why it was important to talk to them and why it was important to have George H.W. Bush's support. And so they agreed to meet with some of the Nickel board. And so the next day, they all met with staffers, a group of staffers at the White House, to start the dialogue then with getting the support from George H.W. Bush, who was very supportive during the whole process to this. And we talked about it later, how that the episode of the guards having to lift Marka up into the guard shack was a classic example of the inaccessibility of the United States. And so we were going to use that as we went forward to ensure that the ADA was passed, which it took a while and took a lot of negotiating and fighting and back and forth and stuff, but it was eventually passed. and George H.W. Bush signed it into law on July 26, 1990. And so we are here celebrating the 30th anniversary, and thank you for asking me to participate.